In this video, we will be looking at the BenQ RL2455 gaming monitor. This monitor was one of the official monitors for Major League Gaming tournament in Dallas 2013. It's all fine and dandy to have a high performance object for the day on the racetrack, but how is it to own in day-to-day basis? Let's have a look. So let's begin with the packaging. The monitor comes in this massive box, which in many cases will translate to a higher postage and handling cost. Inside the box we have the stand in two parts and a accessories box. Below this layer we have the monitor. Inside the accessory box we have a VGA cable, a HDMI cable and a power cable, some paperwork and a CD. I appreciate the gesture of including a disc. If needed for whatever reason, a USB would have been more like it. Moving on to the assembly, it's rather simple. Two pieces of the stand locks into each other and rather effortlessly so, and then the monitor goes on top. As far as the stand is concerned, it only tilts by a few degrees. Other than that, it's practically a fixed stand. The physical property of the monitor is that there are two HDMI ports, one DVI and one VGA port. There is no display port, unfortunately. On the other side we have the power in, line in, headphone out. Line in I can understand, we will not need to access it as many times. Surely the headphone jack could have been better placed. Where it is, to reach there in order to plug and play the headphone will be inconvenient to say the least. There is also a Visa mount at the back. Overall, the monitor is made using this black plastic and will never win a beauty contest, I assure you. This ugly duckling is not becoming a swan. By most part, the monitor looks rather regular, with barely any distinguishing features. The frame around the screen is deep and has a bulky feel to it. The only thing that gives it a little bit of character is this red stripe around the back of the stand. The buttons are on the side, which is not a bad place to be. They have a good feel to it as well. What I do not like about the buttons are that you have to be facing the monitor straight to line up with the menu items. More often I have pressed the wrong button because the menu items appears to be a bit above. Minor thing. The power button has this power indicator LED on it. That is fine as it is. The menu, in my opinion, could have been better, but it's not a fail. Not something to be impressed with either. And a bit on the slow side. And now the performance. Straight up, first thing that I noticed is that the colors are not popping as much. Then again, this is not an IPS panel, so let's forgive that and move on. If used for productivity, its use is reduced down to word processing. Any kind of editing or publishing work is best not done on this monitor, on the grounds that if the settings are not just right, it'll throw off your composition, and in some cases the margin can be rather high. They advertised it for console gaming, so connected it to Xbox. No real issues here as far as function goes. Brightness is not bad either. With regards to different modes that this monitor provides, there is this RTS1 and RTS2 modes. They are not color accurate at all. What it does is it bumps up the gamma. Sure, the image is no longer true to its intended appearance, but the dark areas are now revealed. In a competitive gaming environment, that may be the advantage. This being a TN panel, the viewing angle cannot be expected to be that great, though looking at it sideways, it's not so bad. The TV in the background is for reference. While you can see the image quality reduces as we step to the side, but at a rather steep angle. However, if we increase the vertical angle, it does not take much for the image quality to fall. So this monitor just cannot be used in portrait mode unless if one intends to look at it dead straight. Now about the low latency or response time. When they say 2 milliseconds gray to gray response time, that is not the full story. Which gray to which gray? This is rarely advertised. Anyhow, to test, I used a simple tool presented by legom.nl. The link is in the description. The latency tests can be performed using a camera with different aperture speeds. The formula is thus. So, testing the response time for 4 milliseconds, things appear to be in order. 3 milliseconds, and we are still good. 2.5 milliseconds, we have a little bit of ghosting visible. Now, this test was from black to gray and back. If I set 64 to 192 gray to gray, the results are actually less than ideal. 3 milliseconds, there is ghosting. 5 milliseconds does not get any better. In other words, I went looking for the results that the manufacturer claimed, but I'm not able to find it. Mind you, these are speeds that ordinary human cannot perceive. I needed to use equipments to demonstrate the evidence. I could not have otherwise told. Now the processing lag. Here, in order to compare, I have an LG27MU67. It's an IPS panel, so it's not entirely right to be comparing the two, but with an advertised response time of 5 milliseconds, this monitor appears to have less lag. I have multiple shots where the LG has newer frame on the screen before the BenQ, or at other times BenQ is still catching up. So what are my thoughts about this? Mathematically, I could not find enough evidence that this is a fast monitor. Lack of DisplayPort is a concern as well. The monitor was aimed towards RTS gaming. It even has dedicated modes for it. To that end, yes, the select group of people does have some advantage. Games that has a theme of darkness to it in general will also be helped by this monitor. So, there is relevance to gaming in ways that other monitors could not accommodate. Apart from that, there is not much more to say. Nor could I say that BenQ delivered the performance figures they had advertised. Before I leave, I'd like to mention that there are upcoming giveaways. I'll try to make them as much fun as possible. So subscribe and stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.